The Game Time Network is proudly sponsored by Matt Gaddis at State Farm. If you need help with car or renter's insurance, Matt Gaddis has you covered. And we are also powered by our friends at Wired to the Nines. For any low voltage needs, reach out to them via email at wiredtothenines@yahoo.com. And don't forget about our friends over at Bigsy Sports Grill. If you're looking for a great time and some great food, head over to Bigsy Sports Grill on Brookville Road in Indianapolis. Thank you to all our sponsors for supporting the Game Time Network. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Side by Side. We are coming to you post Memorial Day, post Indy 500 and Coca-Cola 600 weekend. It was an eventful weekend here in Indianapolis. A great race. Felix Rosenqvist getting the win at IMS this weekend in what was probably one of the best Indy 500s of all time. I mean, I feel like it's got to rank up there in some regard. And IndyCar fans, they're talking about it, Brandon. People watch that race. So many people watch it. And then, this high stakes, high speed oval. And now we're going to Detroit next week, or we're doing a road course next week. It definitely, I kind of agree with fans when they say they should maybe do a back-to-back ovals for people that may want to stick around at post Indy 500. But before we get into all that, Brandon, I want to ask you, what did you think of the overall weekend? Very successful weekend for IndyCar. NASCAR, I think in all three races got their wings cut a little short because of weather, but overall still an enjoyable weekend of racing.
Yeah, overall, I thought successful. I'll leave it at six. I'll put it as successful. Last week on our show, I said I didn't have a good idea that we would get the race in Indy on Sunday, and even Charlotte, really. Yeah. It just didn't look like there, and the forecast kept trending on Friday and Saturday even worse and worse. Woke up Sunday morning, I was like, all right, there's a chance. And then we had the split of the track of the storms, and then it really didn't. We had two delays. One was in the area where I was at near turn 4, and the other one was on the south end of the speedway. But we got it in, and it didn't rain until afterwards, really, after the race, which was awesome to see. Friday, we got Carb Day in. People got to go out there and celebrate. I heard the concert wasn't as great as people were wanting it to be, but the Weenie 500 excelled. 700 and some thousand viewers watched the Weenie 500, which is way more, Isaiah, than what watched the Indy Grand Prix back in the beginning of the month. So we have a problem there with that.
Yeah, for sure.
With that being the case. But yeah, Felix Rosenqvist beating David Malukas by 0.0233 at the line, closest Indy finish in history. Honda beats Chevy, and boy, it looked like Honda got the boost right there at the end on that side on the side draft.
Yeah,
a little bit, but exciting. It was packed full. I got to talk to some race fans that were there for the very first time. So I talked to them before, and then I asked her what their thoughts were after. Bucket list item. They will be back, and I kind of got that impression from a lot of people that it was. And I found out some people would rather go for the pre-race festivities.
Yeah.
Just as important as the race itself. And Indy 500, top-notch once again. That's the reason why it sold out a couple weeks early in advance. I'm still waiting on the TV ratings to come out. Those haven't came out just yet. I think they're delayed just because of Memorial Day itself. Those should come out today or tomorrow. I'm interested to see what that number pull is, because I think it's going to be high. 25 was a big jump from what 24 was. I just expect 26 to be just as high.
And you add in that there wasn't a blackout in Indy.
Yeah.
That definitely will help. It was a great race. And I'll tell you what, I've never really had a favorite IndyCar driver. I think at one point it was Will Power. But David Malukas, he earned a lot of fans after Sunday's race, I feel like. And I'm proud, and I'm definitely one of them. They talked about it on commentary, how, you may never get that opportunity again as long as you race in that race. So it's incredible. I thought Malukas had it, and then Felix Rosenqvist. I mean, when that caution came out with 4 to go, I was like, oh my gosh, we're going to have ourselves a race. There was a part of me that was pushing for Romain Grosjean since he had the 18 on, changed the logo to match kind of Kyle Busch's 18. I knew it was going to be tough because of his tires. Really shocked that Palou didn't get back up into the mix, because all day those cars in 4, 5, and 6 were just like jumping into the lead off the restarts. Thought Palou would have had a better, would have gotten into the mix there. But, I mean, I'm not surprised it was Malukas either. Malukas had a hell of a car all day. So
I think part of that had to do with Palou was that he was kind of he had really talented drivers in front. Now they're all talented, but he had talented drivers in front of him that were in that 4, 5, 6 position that were getting those jumps. Scott McLaughlin restarted 8th.
Yep.
On that restart, finished 3rd. Pato O'Ward started 7th, finished 4th in that race. And I think Pato's pretty happy with that just because he didn't really have the car that was, and I know he led, but that was a little pit strategy, but he didn't really have the car this year to really compete for the win. I know you can say, well, he finished in 4th place. He was right up there towards the end. Well, yeah, no shit, he did. But overall, if you look out throughout the race, he really didn't have it. And, you know, I'm a McLaren guy. I've got the hat on today. Just didn't really have it. But, yeah, McLaughlin, that was my pick before the thing to win. And I think I need to go back and look at our takes. I think I did see something in our preview about David Malukas. I'm pretty sure I did.
Yeah.
In our preview.
Mentioned something.
No, I'm going to try to go back and find that. But, yeah, I think I think that was great for him. That's back-to-back second-place finishes for him. It reminded me back in 2006 when Marco lost to Sam Hornish Jr., kind of at the same thing at the line. And everybody thought, oh, Marco, it was your rookie year. You'll be back to get, he'll be back to win.
Yep.
Never happened, right? And you hear all the other guys saying, hey, kid, keep your head up. You're early in your career. So I think Malukas has got himself a great ride. I think he will get a win at some point this year. He's knocking on that door. And then next year, obviously, he's got to be one of the favorites going into it as well. And shout out Marcus Armstrong as well.
Yeah.
He had a hell of a run, man. You were in a bad spot. You were doing the restart with 1 to go, and you're in front. That's the worst spot to be.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. Looking at those standings, which I need to pull up and share my screen. David Malukas.
Ferrucci, another top 10. That's 8 now, and all 8 starts are in top 10s, man.
And you know what? He's not that high up in the points, which is a little surprising.
Yeah.
And you look at it now, the updated standings. Palou still first, about a 40-point deficit, 40-point lead, I should say. Malukas now in second. Kirkwood, who didn't run bad on Sunday, just didn't run great, sits in third. And then after that, it's really a battle of 3 drivers right now, Palou, Malukas, and Kirkwood. We'll see if Lundgaard or Ward or McLaughlin can get themselves a win and get them in the mix. But it's really about the top 3. And even then, it still feels like, once again, another Alex Palou championship is on the horizon. Brandon, I want to ask you, should IndyCar considering adding more ovals, right? You go back to the incidents they've had in the past, obviously the most notable one being 2011 at Las Vegas. It seems like a lot of IndyCar fans want Pocono back. There's a lot of ovals that IndyCar fans want to see them run. And, that's a great way to differentiate I can't say the word, but, make them different from F1 a little bit. I like the road courses that they run. But I also see what fans are saying when they say the product that they have at Indy, you could go to Atlanta and have a similar product. You could go to Pocono and have a similar product. The racing at Phoenix was great. I'm not saying, you need to be, 75% ovals and 25% road courses, but I mean, I don't think a 50-50 split of the schedule would be too crazy to ask, and I think it would be very interesting. And how much would it help the sport? I think it could help it a good amount.
Yeah, I do. They had Iowa, doubleheader Iowa previously. Those started off great races, and then it got to the point where there was only 1 or 2 main people that were leading at Iowa, and I really liked Iowa. I'd like them to go back for a doubleheader at Iowa again.
Yeah,
that's off the schedule. I even think they go back to Michigan. Michigan was a prime spot for IndyCar back in the day. I think they could definitely do some things there at Michigan. They used to go to Fontana before that course got closed. Pocono, I just don't see Pocono or Las Vegas. Those are some
I don't see Vegas
scars.
at all.
Those are some bad scars for IndyCar with Dan Weldon and Justin Wilson both passing away. They did go back to Nashville Superspeedway off the Nashville road course. That was the experiment that they did. So that's go back to the Speedway. Yeah, I think they should add some more speedways in there. I think it would help with a little bit of the crowd and stuff. And I think they did a lot of the, you have your niche that likes the road courses. And I used to hate them. Now I can all right, I'll watch them. I'll tolerate them. And, I'm still a big oval guy myself, but overall, it takes great talent. I think if you really want to get yourself a champion, I think you find that good mix of maybe 55% ovals, 45% street/road courses.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this weekend. They're going off of Belle Isles where they used to go in Detroit. And now they're not going to there. They're going to the Detroit City street course, which I think they did that last year was the first year they did that. So I always thought there should have been a gap as well after the Indy 500. Like, don't go straight to another race. Let it sink in for a week. I mean, God, they just had the victory banquet on Monday. Let it sink in, then go. But I think when your product is as hot, I think that's probably what they're thinking. We want to go ahead and snap right now as you can with it. So, yeah, I'd like to see some more ovals. I think they are in the works to add some more stuff. I think they should get Chicagoland. I think that's one spot up in Chicago. Yeah. I know they've considered a street course there, which I don't think the city wants to do those two different street courses, which they talked about having the same weekend, which is possible, I guess. But I'd like to see them up at Joliet there at the Chicagoland Speedway.
Yeah. And, I kind of feel bad because I think after it seems like Adam Stern, he put out something that NASCAR is going to go. It looks like they're working to get back the Chicago street course for next season.
Take Kentucky back. Kentucky Speedway.
Yeah. If you ask me, like we have Chicagoland, so I don't think there's a need. I get it. They want to be in downtown Chicago and Chicagoland's nowhere near that. But I mean, if I were them, if I was either of these, if I was either, IndyCar or NASCAR, I'm looking at markets that don't have a street course or that don't have an oval or a road course. Like I've always thought, like, what about Arizona? Like, why not run something in Arizona? I guess they got Phoenix, but there's some place that could use a street course that actually that could justify a street course. And I don't think Chicago's one of them. I don't see NASCAR expanding the schedule. IndyCar, there's a possibility that they could expand the schedule. I kind of like if they would, because I think, we had that first race of the season and then there was 2 weeks without a race. So I wouldn't mind an expanding of the schedule on IndyCar side. But I'd like to see more ovals too. I think that's what could make you different from F1. The F1 product, I believe, is the worst out of the three. And, with the race like IndyCar had at the Indy 500, I texted you. I'm like, that's the best product in the world. Like, there's no doubt. But I even think through the course of the whole year, I think IndyCar's had the best product, whether that's on road course or on oval. NASCAR has had its weeks, but it's still some weeks where I'm like, man, this is one of the worst races I've ever watched. Where IndyCar, I've been very content with what I've watched, and I feel like overall between the big three, that's been the best product out of the three so far.
Yeah. I agree that, Formula One's probably got the worst competitiveness right now. And that's probably because, it's always been either Red Bull or it's either been
Mercedes,
Ferrari at one point. But I honestly, I think IndyCar right now is striking as it's hot as the best competition right now. Even though you still have your own domination, Alex Palou, there were a lot of boo birds I heard for Alex Palou this past weekend. So, we do that with champions. Look at Oklahoma City Thunder and whatnot, Lakers back in the day, those type of teams, the Bulls. So I think it's a matter of just kind of where the product is currently. And I think IndyCar or NASCAR, obviously, you got Tyler Reddick with what he's done so far early, and that kind of set some people a certain way. But yeah, overall, I think IndyCar right now they've hit it big. Now they just need to carry that momentum as we kind of move on to the rest of the year. Because when that number comes out for how many viewers they had, okay, I know it's the Indy 500 and stuff, but you got to be able to get a portion of that to continue the trend for the rest of the year. And the good news is Fox is dedicated to it, right? Fox has partial ownership, so they're going to put that marketing in there for that to possibly happen.
What'd you think of Will Buxton. I've heard some mixed reviews. I think Will Buxton has been great. I thought he was great for.
Yeah, I don't have a
for
problem with him.
Sunday.
I think he did a great job. I think he captured the moment without stepping over it too much.
Yep.
You get some announcers that step over those type of things, or the three guys talk over each other. I didn't feel it in this race there, and I know some people are upset with him, but just like, well, why we got a Brit that's over here calling the American IndyCar?
And somebody, I saw a clip today who they're an IndyCar podcast, it looked like, and he said, I was a little concerned about Buxton coming over from F1 because, the basic, when you think of F1, you think, oh, the fans think it's just the best sport ever. It doesn't, like, IndyCar and NASCAR are like steps below. But Buxton has never had that attitude in the times I've watched him on YouTube, and, he does the show at Kevin Harvick, and I watch that every week. Buxton's always had respect for every motorsport. So,
Lee Diffie wasn't the fit. Lee Diffie was more to the NASCAR.
Yeah, and I think Diffie did good for IndyCar, but I think Buxton fits this role. F1, he was like a journalist and like a sideline reporter. Whatever reporter. But he really is finding his role.
He's not fake about it either. The video that shows that last lap where he's standing up with that microphone like that, that's raw announcer energy and emotion, all three of them. And Hinchcliffe just kind of let it breathe, let it play out. Townsend did as well. I thought the three of them did a great job when I went back on Monday watching the telecast.
They've got, I don't watch F1 often. I watch it a good amount, but I don't watch it enough. They've got a great booth. Other than the CW booth for the O'Reilly Auto Parts series, I think IndyCar is the best booth. I think IndyCar's first. The CW is second. And
I like Amazon better than Fox.
Fox has the worst booth right now. They have the worst booth. I like Kevin Harvick on the show with Buxton on Speed, but on the Fox broadcast, I don't know what the issue is, but it feels like he struggles to get any type of word out. Boyer has been better, but I'm still not. The mesh of those three just doesn't work. Jamie Little does the trucks. They just had, I forgot his name, I think it's Eric Brennan, do the trucks this weekend. Got high praise. I wouldn't be surprised he'll eventually become the voice for the Cup Series in the next couple of years. They got to get it figured out, but it definitely, I'm hoping at some point, which maybe it'll happen midway through this new deal with NASCAR, that Amazon buys the beginning of the season from Fox, or somebody buys the beginning of the season from Fox, or NASCAR puts their foot down. They're like, hey, we want out of this part of the deal. Because I can't stand Fox. I'm over it. They're doing great with the IndyCar coverage sometimes, but I think most of the time they've been great. On the NASCAR side, they definitely just paid for the rights because they said, we could use the product, but they don't care about the product. And you know what? Right? I mean, I get it. You got IndyCar, you got some stake in it, whatever. But why did you re-up your rights if this is the effort we're going to get? The only credit I will give them is we got rid of the stupid animation graphics, cartoon graphics. That is the one positive I will give them. But other than that, still same old Fox from the last couple of years.
Yeah, I agree. A couple other things I have, last things from Indy.
Go ahead.
Really disappointed by the showing from ECR, Ed Carpenter Racing. 27th, 30th, and 31st. Will Power and Rossi. Rossi with another fire in the engine. That's back-to-back 500s for that. Carpenter gets wrecked by Sato a little bit there, and then Rasmussen's terrible run that he had. So really bad there. Andretti, like I said, I didn't expect much from Andretti's racing. Marcus Ericsson, I thought he would be one of the ones running up there. He finished 13th, but 13th, 16th, and 29th for Andretti. Penske 2, 3, and then 28th. The outlier was Joseph Newgarden with his crash and turn 4 in front of us, which is nuts when it happened. And then the last thing, I did hear a few complaints. A fourth of the race was caught ran under yellow. 51 caution laps. So that's a fourth of your race. A lot of it was because of weather, right? But they delayed coming back so many times because they didn't know what the hell to do. NASCAR or IndyCar officials didn't know what to do. Should we go back? Should we not go back? We're going to run 3 extra laps. Cleanups took longer than they were supposed to. when do you red flag? When do you don't? That last 10 laps, I think there was like 4 caution laps that ran that they didn't even have to run them. Really?
Yeah, and I think they just didn't know.
They didn't know what to do. They didn't. They dropped the ball there.
Yeah, and I think it's just a hard call because do you let them go and then there's a big crash, or do you? And I don't think they like butchered it. I think they did good. They didn't completely butcher it, so I'm not mad about that.
70 lead changes in the race, so I was happy to see that. And hey, did you see who was in town on Monday? And then was actually out with Connor Daly at the bars downtown Indianapolis.
I saw. Yeah, you sent me it.
Norris.
And Daniel Ricciardo. Yeah.
So Orlando kind of talked with the media in Indianapolis on Monday morning out there as Felix was getting his pictures taken and all that. He did not deny or say no about his opportunity to run the Indianapolis 500. He said if the opportunity was right, the Zach Brown is looking for somebody to run the triple header, to win the triple. Who could win the triple header? Now I know they have the Canadian Grand Prix this year on the same freaking date, which is stupid. They moved Monaco to 2 weeks from this week. Obviously,
I don't like that.
But if we could get Lando,
at the Indy,
it makes perfect sense for Zach Brown to put Lando in a car, in that 4th car maybe next year, if they can make the schedule work right in there. But Lando, that would make my dream, right? I got the McLaren. I'm a McLaren guy, so that'd be huge. I'd love. I wish I was at the bar and seen him down there. I'd buy him a shot.
I think Hocevar will probably run next year too. I think there's a possibility for that. Speaking of NASCAR, we'll switch over to that. Pull up the standings as well. Tyler Reddick still in control. Denny Hamlin sitting right behind him, trailing by 122 points. You then got Blaney, Gibbs, Elliott, Larson, Buescher, Bell, Hocevar, and Suarez rounding out the top 10. Like we talked about it in the off season. And I and it kind of just sucks that we'll never get to find out what happened. But I know there was reports that Kyle Busch was more than likely going to stay at Richard Childress, but man, I really was thinking Spire was where he would end up. Probably replacing McDowell in that seat. Still doesn't feel real. They announced, I think yesterday, they're going to take Busch out of the point standings. So I'm curious. So I'm guessing they're just going to start Austin Hill at 0, is what I assume. Or they haven't really announced. I guess Hill's going to do.
Pull down, see what his points are at. Hill's. I mean, he ran this past week, so I think he would get some points, right?
I don't know. I think it's just blank. I don't even think he's on here.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see him on there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't think there has been an official decision on if Hill's taken over for the rest of the year or not. I think it'll be Hill, maybe Jesse Love, but we'll find out. Even though I definitely think they had Love run a couple races already this year. I could see him being the guy that moves up next year.
If I was to tell you 13 races in, hey, we're 13 races in and Kyle Larson doesn't have a win yet, you wouldn't believe me.
No, I wouldn't, but I wouldn't. I'm not panicking yet. You're 6th in the standings.
He's 6th. He's having a good overall run. He just hasn't had that win yet. So
I'm not panicking yet. I think Larson's going to be fine, but I tell you right now, I do feel like there's 4 guys that can win this championship. I think it's Reddick, Hamlin, Blaney, and Elliott. I like Ty Gibbs. He's had a really good year, but I'm not confident in him yet as once we get to the chase.
And but we had a bad performance on Sunday, crashing out early, and he said, I've sat in the holler watching more of these than I've been running. So that was a bad points day for us there.
I saw the clip from one of the Dirty Mo Media podcasts. It wasn't Dale Jr.'s. I think it was the Teardown, but I could be wrong. There's a lot of teams that want Chris Buescher in this offseason. He's consistent. He hasn't gotten a win. I think a lot of people think he'll get a win this year. From what it was hinted at on the show, there's a Toyota team and there's a Ford team that have some interest in him. Now, obviously, I'm assuming that Ford team is excluding RFK because obviously they'd want him back. I would assume that other Ford team is Penske because Cindric is also going to be a free agent this year. Now, with Tim Cindric being at Penske, we'll see. I think
I heard
Cindric's
they could
pretty
be at
locked
the
in.
fourth team. Penske would be.
Well, they'd have to get a charter, and that's the other thing with RFK. RFK needs to find a charter too,
Yeah.
or Priest or Busher or honestly, but I heard on the Dale Jr. download that they're just going to run the third car open, which I find very interesting to run it open. Junior said the difference would be about $5 million, which they treated that like it was chump change. So on the show, so okay. It seems like they're going to have a charter. I think they'll get a charter because, I think the first team that I'm going to get the charter from is right here. I would call Haas up and I'd be like, all right, like, what do you want? Like, why are they here is really my question. That's the first team I would call up is not Dodge, is Haas.
Yeah.
I would definitely call Haas regarding that fourth charter or third charter. Because I think when you're RFK, all three guys are running really, really strong, like all year. Priest is kind of lacking behind the other two, but not by much. I mean, he's the last guy in the chase as of right now. And you look at the guys behind him, Brandon, none of them have been as consistent as Ryan Priest. I mean, look at Briscoe, right? Yeah. Briscoe was at the bottom of the standings at the start of the year, and we both kind of were like, he'll find his way. And there he is sitting in 15th.
Yep. Yeah. Van Ginsberg staying up there too. I was expecting some fall off with him.
And he's been the best Trackhouse driver all year.
Yeah.
He's been the best Trackhouse driver all year long. And speaking of Trackhouse, I said I wanted to talk about it before we ended the show. That 48 car, Alex Bowman. So I watched, do you know Eric Estep? He does a lot of NASCAR content. Huh? I'll have to send you his content. He does some good stuff, but he talked about it as well. And you look at the situation for the 48, right? We talked about it at the start of the year. You mentioned Connor Zilisch, right? How much would it take for Hendrick to buy out Connor Zilisch? Zilisch has a 2-year deal at Trackhouse. I think Zilisch would be the most explosive move they could make. I think there's 3 scenarios, right? There's re-sign Bowman to a 1-year deal, which leads to Corey Day getting the seat the next year, right? There's let Bowman go, which, I could see Bowman being the one going to Spire because there's that affiliation between Spire and Hendrick, which wouldn't be a bad spot for Bowman. I could see them immediately promoting Day up and letting Bowman go. And then, they're not expecting much from Day just to get comfortable. Or they don't know what to do and they do go out and get Zilisch, which that just, at that point, what do you do with Corey Day, who you've been, building up? I don't think they should promote Day. I think, I thought there was a chance Kyle Busch could be in the seat also, but right now, my gut is telling me Bowman's in the seat for another year. Corey Day's in the seat the following year, unless they really do spend the money to get Zilisch.
I think Hendrick, well, there's a new scenario that's played out here in the last 7 days. Obviously, I said something about, and then the rumors have came out about Zilisch, and I thought Hendrick buying him out. I honestly think Hendrick is probably going to have second choice with Zilisch, to be honest, and that's not because of Trackhouse. I think it's because there's a good chance I think Zilisch could get in that 33 car for Richard Childress Racing, as they try to get some new talent in there. And yeah. I know you talked to Jesse Love and all this, but I think there's that shot where Childress Racing could go out and buy him out from Trackhouse because Trackhouse gets their engines from Richard Childress.
Okay. I was wondering where that was leading to.
So
that makes sense.
Staying in the same engine. Hey, we'll buy it out, but won't buy it as much because it's still within the brands. Hey, you're using our engines. Yeah. I just, with that seat opening now, I think Hendrick, who was in the forefront pole position, I think now they're in second, because I think if Richard Childress really wants to get somebody in there, I think if he wants to dive in and get Zilisch, it's easier for him because they give those engines to Trackhouse.
I just think it's hard for, if I'm Connor Zilisch, what's the better move for me? Staying at Trackhouse or going to Richard Childress? Because I I feel like they're on the same level right now. I don't think one's better than the other.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say Spire's ahead of both of them, right? By not by much. I think, Spire could be just as bad next year, but we really don't know. I mean, Spire's got a lot of funding being put into them right now. Also.
I would like to see, and I know we've had different types of vehicles, but I'd like to see Connor Zilich's stats we have right here for the first 13 races compared to some of our previous great NASCAR drivers or so in their first 13 races during their rookie year, and just kind of see how that comparison is. I mean, it's been a tough rookie year. I know everybody probably shouldn't have, but they were trying to crown him and say, hey, you know what? He's going to be in the playoffs this year. He's going to be, and like
0 top 10, 0 top 5s. The 3 right here is DNFs. So,
yeah,
I mean, it's been a struggle, but I think what also has been talked about is this next gen car is so different from cars in the past. It's nowhere similar to the O'Reilly cars. So I think that's been the adjustment period. I would say right now, I think Bowman stays for another year, or they do give Corey Day the 48C. And since there's an alliance with Spire, they Hendrick helps Bowman get over to Spire, which would be a great seat. Like, I think the Spire seat is more valuable than the Richard Childress seat. I think it arguably could be more valuable than the RFK seat because there's so much money being put into Spire right now. Like Spire, and not only that, the Chris Gabehart thing, which will get sorted out. I think Gabehart will still be at Spire. Like, we had the same feeling with Trackhouse, but Trackhouse also had that jump in the first year of the next gen car. We're midway through the next gen era and really towards the end of this car's life cycle, and Spire is figuring it out in the middle of the life cycle. So for me, it's only going to go up here from Spire. Now, unless Hendrick's available, I get it. But at this point, like RFK and Spire maybe are about here, but if I'm a driver, I'm probably going with Spire over RFK, depending on just what I like more.
Okay.
How would you rank them? I mean, I'm not saying Richard Childress is bad. I don't know.
I think they're still up there, but I think the gap's closed. I think Spire's up there and then Trackhouse, but I feel like Spire's, obviously they're running great this year. Childress has had some issues, but I still think, like you said, I think they're figuring out. I think it's just taking a little bit of a while for Childress' Racing to figure out this next gen car, and we'll figure it out. And then all of a sudden, I mean, there's still people trying to figure out a lot of the Chevys. It's not just them. Hendrick's still trying to figure it out too.
Yep, with the new body.
Yep.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting. This offseason has definitely, it's going to be interesting for sure with Buescher. I know Tyler Reddick doesn't have a new deal, but we're not going to sit here and speculate. We know where he's going.
Do you think in the next 2 years, and somebody asked me this question the other day, are we about 2 years out from a revamped Joe Gibbs Racing team?
Yeah, I think we're
Hamlin, Briscoe, Bell, and Gibbs.
I think 3 of those guys are solidified. I think really I think Briscoe's solidified with the way he's running. I mean, look at the 3. All 4 of their guys are in the chase. So, I mean, and Hamlin's going to retire after next year. That's
what I'm thinking. If you lose your crown jewel. So there's one. Bell's Sedietti, right? Briscoe. Bell and Briscoe, do you renew those contracts, or do you kind of look and see what else is there?
Well, okay, so right now, would you rather have Bell or would you rather have Hocevar? Because for example, I would take Ryan Blaney over Bell.
Yeah.
Honestly, look, Reddick's had a great year, but it is 1 year. If I'm talking about a consistent couple of years, I'd maybe still slightly take Bell over Reddick. But Elliott, I could see an argument for Bell over Elliott, but like I said, this format definitely benefits Chase Elliott way more. And I thought it would benefit Bell too, because if you look at the last 2 years, people would do the Chase and people would do the Winston. Bell would be a back-to-back champion in the old Chase format. Now, Winston, I think he only would win one. And Buescher would have won one. So,
yeah,
I mean, I love Bell. I think Bell's one of the top 10 best drivers.
Yeah, I do too.
In the Cup Series. So for me, if I'm Joe Gibbs, I get it. You got Ty Gibbs and you got Briscoe, but I think Bell's your franchise guy for the next couple of years, unless you can get a Zilich. You can get, I know Byron's contract's up in the next couple of years, but he'll probably stay at Hendrick, barring unless Joe Gibbs comes with a crazy offer or somebody else.
Richard Childress is just trying to get that Connor Zilich and that Brexton Busch pairing in about 7 years.
See, you must be high on Richard Childress because, man, I got no confidence at all in Richard
I'm not
Childress.
high on Richard Childress. I'm trying to get them working in the universe for them. I'm trying to help them out a little bit.
I think there's
they need some good pub. We haven't had good pub for them in a bit.
What would be best for Richard Childress is Austin Dillon moves into a competition director role, because I do think he could bring something to the table. But it is time to get him out of the seat. You got. I'm just being honest. It's time to get him out of the seat. It's time to get him out of the seat. I got to call it like it is. Jesse Love, Austin Hill. Who else do they got down there in O'Reilly? There's got to be some type of it is time for a fresh slate. Just who could you get in the seat? Maybe you can get Bowman. I really don't think there's a chance that they get Connor Zilich just because of look at how they're performing. But I don't know. Trackhouse is so they're the flashy team. So I feel like somebody's going to be drawn to stay there or go there. Where Richard Childress, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not trying to be rude or be mean to Richard Childress. After what's just happened, I look at what they've done in the last couple of years. At least Trackhouse has some ounce of success going on. It's not what we thought it could have been this year, but there is some
Where's
success.
Byron in the standings at? Where do we have him at?
He should be. He's in the chase. He is 12th.
Okay.
So he's sitting all right. He's sitting, I think if you're 13 through 16, you got to be a little worried about yourself. I think Byron's going to be okay.
Ryan Priest is another name, man, to watch. He could be moving
yeah.
From RFK. That's another name I'd like to watch to see what happens with them.
Yeah.
Listen,
this offseason.
You imagine him going to the 48? You could see it.
I want somebody good in there. I like Bowman, but and here's my thing, and we talked about this too, right? It's whoever goes into that 48, it still feels like you're driver number 4 in that lineup. It doesn't matter. I think with Joe Gibbs, I'm saying Bell's the number 1 guy after Hamlin leaves, but I mean, there's still an argument for Briscoe. There will be an argument for Ty Gibbs, but I don't think it's right now, regardless of how well he's doing this year.
Who's your number 1 in Hendrick? I'm just curious.
See, I don't think there is a number 1 right now. I think I like that.
That's the political answer there.
It is a political answer. If you want me to be honest, it is Larson.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think it's a 1A, 1B thing. It's like Kobe and Shaq. Even though I know I said my take about Kobe and Shaq on Sunday, but it's a Kobe and Shaq. There's Elliott and there's Larson. We knew this format would benefit Elliott a lot more, but I don't think anyone expected Larson to not have a win through 13 races, but he's still racing really well.
Who's number 1 in RFK? Because I think that's tougher.
Man, they run like a unit, though. Steve Letarte said it on the Dale Jr. download. He's like, they run 11, 12, 13. 8, 7, 8, 9.
Every race, all 3 of them are right there with each other.
It's they're like the Knicks with how many weapons they got. Anunoby, Bridget. That's the best way to describe RFK a little bit.
RFK is the Knicks. I like it.
Just from a roster perspective, if we're comparing, I mean, Trackhouse is like the Clippers right now in that sense. So I think, I don't know who's the best driver at RFK. I think if they don't want to run a third charter, I think Brad, with the way he's made this organization better, I think Brad would definitely retire, or not retire, but just step out of the seat to keep Priest. It seems like they're gonna run open next year if they can't get a third charter. But man, if I'm Haas Factory or I think Rick Ware, man, come on,
Rick Ware Racing.
If you think about it, they said Dale Jr. and Letarte said it. Charters go for $100 million right now, apparently.
Yeah, it's Crazy.
You could go build, if I'm Rick Ware or Haas, you could go build a 2-car O'Reilly Auto Parts Series team and probably be a competitor next year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. Like, Colleague's not going to sell their charters because they're going to be probably one of the first ones to get to go to Dodge. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be real interesting how this offseason goes. I'm hoping we get a Dodge announcement at the championship race at Homestead this year. So we'll see what happens. 40-minute episode. We try to keep these under 30 minutes, but man, we had a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Coming out of the Indy 500.
Hey, one last thing for our F1 people. I saw Gucci now is going to join Alpine and as the title sponsor. And then the big one for me.
That's fancy.
This will help me out. I'll love this a lot more. Cadillac's considering Bottas getting them out of there and possibly moving up their F2 driver, Colton Herta, former IndyCar driver, to the Cadillac team. I would love to see that.
Yeah.
Cadillac USA, they need a shot in the arm right now because this team stinks. They are the Clippers of Formula One, you can say.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. I think they're an expansion team, so we'll just say they're
Vancouver Grizzlies.
They're the soon to be Las Vegas and Seattle teams that we got coming to the league here in a couple of years. So I'm giving them some grace. I'm not, same thing with Audi. Like I'm not. They'll find their footing hopefully in the next couple of years.
I had to say something about F1 because I can't let you get ripped on by F1 people anymore. So I had to.
Look, it don't bother me. Everyone's got their opinion. I just think F1. They're too big for their britches sometimes, so they gotta tone it down a little bit.
Careful, we won't get our credentials from Monaco.
We'll be all right. By the way, last thing I'll say is great work from Amazon Prime as always. I hope I hope they could buy out Fox's start of the year. I know people would be mad if Daytona 500 was on streaming, but man, I don't care. I'm so over Fox, and I really don't want to see. Really, I don't want to see anyone else cover the sport now. I just want to see Prime do it because at least they care. And it helps with less commercials. I like NBC, especially now that Lee Diffie's there. But man, I wish I would even take ESPN over Fox at this point. Like I'm over it. Oof. People say ESPN was bad, and I guess it was bad in that last run. But I don't know. I saw a post that said NASCAR needs to have some type of coverage on ESPN. But I'm like, none of the motorsports have coverage on ESPN right now. So I don't think it's the end of the world. Folks, that is going to do it. We will be back next week to cover more motorsports for you guys. F1, IndyCar,
I may have
NASCAR.
to have you do solo next week. I'm on a golf trip all week.
Okay.
Next week, so.
Okay. I think I've got someone that I could have fill in.
Yeah, have somebody fill in. I'll be out on a golf trip all week up in Wisconsin, so.
All right. Well, that'll be good. I'll definitely I'll keep us going. Folks, that will do it, though, for us for this week of Side by Side. We will see you guys next week.